Alright, so what's next? What do we want to do next? Actually, I might just clean up these nodes here. Because some people, when they watch my tutorials, they say it gets a bit confusing because I have it all mixed up. If you select all the nodes and hit Control G, it's going to make them a group. So it's a lot more tidier and easier to see. And then if you hit Tab, you can edit them as well. And you can kind of close it again. So it's just a nice, easy way keeping things organized. And for the sake of it as well, I'm just going to keep these inputs organized as well, just so it's one single input like that. And we're going to give it a name, sun glare. Cool. And now, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? All right, let's create the, it's really organized, isn't it? Let's create the atmospheric kind of atmospheric fall off, fog, or haze, or whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Z depth from our desert scene here. And I'm going to put it into a map value node. Okay, so plug the Z depth into there. Add a viewer node just so we can see how it looks. And it looks solid white. You can't really see anything. Before you can see anything, you basically need to turn down this size amount like this. And then you can start seeing things. I'm going to set this to a 0.01, like I usually do. Set it around that. Looks pretty good. And if I turn down this offset, it's going to make kind of the part in front of the camera be like not be affected by the fog, which is important because you don't want the entire thing to have like a hazy effect. Like the front part that's closest to the camera needs to be quite clear looking. So that's what we're going to do. I'm also going to check the use maximum. And I'm going to turn it down, and that's just going to make sure that the sky isn't completely blotted out with color. So that's going to fix that. And now, if we add a mix node, and then drop in the scene into the top part right there, if this is plugged into that factor amount, basically what this is going to do, if we leave that bottom value there blank, we can actually, it's basically using this kind of black and white kind of scale, Z depth here to color the scene, whatever is put into that bottom part right there. So if I change this to like red, for example, then the entire thing is more reddish looking. But we don't want it to look like that. So let's just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a color from the clouds or from near the sun. So let's just use a little eyedropper. I'm going to select that one and turn it down a bit just so it's not too in your face. And that is in your face, isn't it? So turn it down a bit more. Oh, that's right. Change it to add, okay? And that's just, yeah, that way now you can turn it down. That controls kind of the opacity of the, oh, I got a TweetDeck thing. That controls, yeah, the opacity of the fog. So if you turn that all the way up, it's really thick, and we can turn it down. Okay, all right. Looking good so far. What are we going to do? All right, what I might do now is get into some color correction. So go to color balance node, and some of you that have ever used kind of After Effects or anything like that, you're probably familiar with this. It's the color wheel, which allows you to change, the mid-tones, highlights, and what's the other one? I can't remember. The black parts of the image, basically. So the left one is the black parts here. So if I just make that red like that, all the black parts now become, the dark parts become a red color. And the mid one, if I make that kind of a bluish tint, gives it like that. And I'm going to make the highlights a reddish yellowy tint like so. And you can experiment with these as much as you like. So I might just turn that one up, just the mid-tones, the dark tones, if that's its name. And make that a little bit orange. Something like that is fine. All right, and now I'm going to add a vignette, okay? You can create a vignette very easily in Blender. Well, actually, I don't know. I haven't really used many other programs. It's probably quite complex compared with other programs. But you add a lens distortion node to start with. Then change the distortion amount to 1. Then go to the converter, select math. Drop this in here. Make that greater than. Set the value to be 0. And what that's going to do is basically give you this kind of black and white oval looking thing. So we're going to blur that oval shape now. So add a filter, blur node. Set it to fast Gaussian. Select relative. Let's go 20%. Set that to Y. And have a look at that. So that's got a kind of nice vignette effect. And now add a mix node. Set it to multiply. Drop that in here. Composite. And viewer node. And now if I set this, whatever I set that to, it's kind of how strong the vignette is. So yeah, probably a little bit more complex to what other users are used to, but that's how we do things in Blender anyway. All right, let me just check. I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? Actually, there was one other thing I was going to show, and that's on these rocks there. If we wanted to make kind of a glow or like a glare effect coming off those rocks, if we go to these layers here under the render layers, and with the desert selected, if we add a specular channel to it like that, if we just check it, and if we give it an re-render it so that it saves all that data, I'm going to get a drink. I've been talking now for almost 40 minutes. Tell you what, if you've gotten this far in the video, I'm impressed. Very impressed. Bing. Awesome. Okay, so now once you've added that little specular channel, you'll see here in the render layer, you've now got a little specular output. So if I add a glare node, plug it in here. See, I just need to just group things here a bit better just so we can see what's going on. I'm just going to make this so it says atmosphere. Okay, so I don't get confused. All right, so this is what the specular channel is looking at basically. And if I turn that threshold down, then it's using the, it's placing the glare over more and more of those little dots there. But you don't want to make it too much, okay? So something like that I think should be fine. I'm going to turn the streaks up to 7 maybe. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. 6. Yeah, 6 should be okay. Maybe give it a little bit of color modulation as well, just to color those streaks a bit. A little bit nicer. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to add a blur node. Oh. Filter blur. Drop this in here. Set it to fast Gaussian. Relative, and let's go 2%. Set it to Y. Maybe go 1%. Okay, something like that is okay. Add those two together with a mix node. Set it to add like we did before. Okay, so it's now at the top. And just make sure you increase the mix amount all the way up to 1. And that's just so that you can't see the original specularity, because the specularity is already included in the image. So we're applying effect over the original image, okay? I'm just going to move everything along a little bit. Oh man, got so much going on. Alright. Mix, drop this in here. Put it in with the rest of the scene and place it in there. And now we should have that effect. And it's way too much. So I'm going to turn down that factor amount just so it's not too overpowering. So it's very, very subtle looking. Actually, I might turn down just the blur amount to about a 0.5 just so you can see a little bit more of the original kind of streakiness. Now I can increase that a little bit. So you can see how we're controlling just the bottom input just by moving things around. So I think that looks pretty good. Keeping things tidy. Going to make that a group. Let's call this specular glow. And yeah, I'm just going to clean these up as well, these inputs here. Just so it's all using the one input, like so. And one more over here, just to keep things tidy. Gonna make a group. Let's make this vignette. And also, if you really want to go, just to kind of sort of tighten up those textures a little bit, just so they kind of pop out a little bit more. Like if you have a look at the original render, textures are a little bit bland. So if we add in a filter node, drop it in right here, and then set it to sharpen, You can see we can sharpen those textures very easily by setting that to 0.1. That's just, yeah, just giving it a really light kind of sharpen effect. And the glow, I think on, where is it, the atmospheric thing, it's looking a little bit weird. So I'm just turning that down a touch. And I think maybe the specularity as well is a little bit too powerful. Okay, but anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. That's the tutorial in a nutshell. You can tweak that until the cows come home if you like. It's really up to you as to how much kind of effort you put into it. I think maybe just at the top of those mountains there, you can kind of see the actual physical sky background coming into it. So if you want to fix that, you just sort of move this texture thing back one like that, and that'd fix that. But yeah, you can see the original render again here. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Check out blender04.com if you want to see more of my work. Otherwise, just ignore that little plug. And thanks very much for watching.